Hi, I'm Peter Corbett, CEO of iStrategy Labs, Corbett 3000. I'm overly caffeinated. I think I can go through 7,000 slides in about 2 minutes rather than 20 and 15 or whatever that metric is. I want to talk to you a little bit today about what it is that we've done at iStrategy Labs to foster the open government community thing. We really believe in doing things smarter, better, faster, and cheaper. Really don't think you need to choose one or two or only three, but think you can really choose all four. And some really interesting things can happen when you choose all four. And we'll show you some of those, and especially Apps for Democracy, which is an innovation contest that we did for the DC government. In our collaboration with Vivek Kundra and the Office of the Chief Technology Officer, this was an innovation contest that spawned a whole host of interesting web applications, mobile applications, Facebook applications, and all the rest. I'll give you a quick backstory on it. Okay. So the backstory is that Vivek Kundra, the CTO of Washington, D.C., needed a way to make D.C.'s open data catalog more useful for the citizens, visitors, and businesses of Washington, D.C. So he said, Peter, we heard you're a really interesting guy who knows how to do weird stuff with technology. What would you do? So I said, there's an old way and there's a new way. The old way is, a few $1,000,000, a couple years, and hire a big contractor. They'll probably make a crappy product, and, that's kind of the way it's done now. Is there a different way? Well, there certainly is, and that's what we would consider the new way, and maybe you'd call it the 2.0 way. That 2.0 way, that new way, is that combination of open data / open source technology plus citizen talent, right, and a little bit of fame and fortune to result in something, right? This was very much experimental when we launched it, not really knowing exactly what would be developed, and I think that's certainly the point, so that creative individuals, specifically developers, would make things for their city. So the new way also needed the government to move very fast. So I had them a proposal in 2 days. They gave us a purchase order in 3 weeks. The campaign launched in 6 days' time, so we built the whole platform for submitting applications and highlighting them and messaging back and forth and a social network and all the rest, and we can talk a little bit about that. But there were really just 2 rules to Apps for Democracy. We needed to keep it simple. So that first rule is really important. Use a DC government data feed. DC is very lucky for having a 240 item data catalog, everything from crime and school test scores and poverty levels and air quality and all these other dead animal pickups, which I think are some of the most interesting ones. I wanted someone to make a little Pac-Man game, but that didn't happen. Anyway, so fame and fortune. This wasn't really about fortune. There were 60 prizes, $20,000 total given out. The interesting part here was about how we broke out the prizes into independent and agency categories. We didn't want independent developers to feel like they're going up against big tech shops that build applications all day long, every day for clients. So they weren't, right? There were 2 gold medals, there were 6 silver, there were 10 bronze, there were 40 honorable mentions. Favorite quote at the bottom, Apps for Democracy produced more savings for the DC government than any other initiative by Vivek Kundra, and that was at the press conference with Mayor Fenty. So the results, what happened, 47 web, iPhone, and Facebook apps, an estimated $2.6 million in value that's calculated using what would the cost be if you had these things individually developed by programmers, plus the internal procurement cost and time on the government side of managing the RFPs and the builds. $50,000 in cost, that's a ridiculous 5,000% ROI. Talk about how we are fearful of how that would decrease over time if we're not careful. One of the things created, ilive.at, it makes your world around a specific address. So this is 1 DuPont Circle. My office is right there. And it'll tell you where the nearest banks are, where the nearest police station is, fire, hospital, helipad, if you're into that kind of thing. Maybe not in this economy. And, stolen cars, and thankfully there's very few of those in that neighborhood. But the government thought this was a really interesting way of syncing up when people would move into the city. And then DC Historic Tours, this thing had something like 3,000 unique visitors a month during inauguration. And what you can see here is a walking trail of the inauguration parade route, and it'll tell you how far it is and how long it's going to take you to walk. But if, per se, you wanted to have some Chinese food for a little mid-walk snack, you could find out where that was. It's pulling in Yelp, it's pulling in Wikipedia, it's pulling in Flickr. It's a really cool city mashup. This was built by Pointabout, which is a location-aware iPhone application showing you, based on where you are in the city, where the nearest metro train is and the next inbound and outgoing trains, and everything from the nearest marina, library, gas station, bank, hotel, construction, embassy, place, vacant building, blah, 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 on down the line. A whole bunch of interesting stuff right at your fingertips. How would the city know to build something like this? And then Stumble Safely, for all of us who for whatever reason, want to build heat maps of liquor licenses, overlay it with crime data, find out whether or not your hot spot is a really dangerous spot and if you should be prepared for that. The MPD thought this was really interesting and started to think about how they could redeploy their police cruisers on Friday and Saturday nights based on that information. This thing is really awesome, which is the We the People Wiki. Basically drill down into any crime, find out who the prosecutor is, who the defendant is, find out all the notes on the case, the overlay, the Google map of where the crime occurred, the simile timeline of all points of data related to that crime. The MPD was like, we had no idea we would even need something like this. They're using paper right now. They think that that's probably the interesting way to go. And then if you want to park somewhere interesting in Washington, D.C., but you don't know if the meter's going to cost you something or if there's a car that's been broken into or if the thing is broken, you would use parkatdc.com. And you put in the address and it'll tell you everything about parking and then overlay the parking decks. And holy crap, how do we even know to create these things? If we were the city, we wouldn't. You got to sick your talented citizens on this stuff, have it build it for you. And then you need to do something called the public square, right? So it's about discovery, participation, and connection. Discovery is about the data. So we've got all the data feeds here. I see crime incidents. I see juvenile arrests. I see purchase orders. Everything that the IT department over in DC Gov procures is open. And then feature that participation. I lived out at Historic Tourist Park in DC. And then connect online in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn with your government collaborators. And the whole point of all this is killing dinosaurs. Dinosaurs of ideas and dinosaurs of companies and people that have held us back from doing new and interesting and cool things. There are so many dinosaurs to kill. If you're not trying to kill one right now, find one and go after it. It's really not that hard. You just chip away at the ankles and they'll fall over. And then the point is that everything is possible. So people will tell you what you're trying to do is not possible and what the government can't do this and your citizens can't do that, but you can. So always think about what you can do and what you want to do, and all you have to do is take that next step and move forward, and you'll get much closer to that ultimate objective that you're aiming for. And my objective is to get a little slice of water right now. In between slides, because in the end, ask not what your country can dev for you, ask what you can dev for your country. We have so many talented people in this country that we have the opportunity right now as a technology tribe to do more good and have more impact than at any other moment in human history. So that's it. Thank you.